box are my helpmates, Thing 1 and Thing 2. Soon they'll emerge from this box, Thing 2 and Thing 1. They can find anything under the sun. It can be done. It can be done. Anything and everything under the sun, it can be done. If you're feeling anxiety, showing some signs of stress, no need to worry. They will give you a reading in a hurry. More accurate details will reveal what needs to be done.
I am Thing 1.
I am Thing 2.
Thing 1 and Thing 2. What will they
I am
do?
Thing 1.
I am Thing 2.
We are here to help you.
When we find pain,
There is no shame,
we help you with tools.
so you no longer look like a fool.
Apply this one,
Apply that one.
and you will be quite happy.
Yes, quite happy.
Stop the music. What happened to you two?
Well,
We were born out of a box, which was built like Fort Knox. A child came, and out we sprang. Chaos grew, which was seen as new. Creative beings we are. The old fish would not see us go far. Stop this and stop that. All that imagination comes from that cat. Don't be confused. We are not here to abuse. We bring more joy than an average toy. We are Thing 2 and Thing 1, and we can find anything under the sun. As we age, the tricks fade. Time to be free, to be more than just me. Transitioning into something new, no longer having to be blue. We are finding joy in being on the air. Spiritual investigators are healthier than interrogators.
join us now as we go to the spiritual studios of Medicine Women Reveal. Our show goes live on the Illuminati Network.
Women Reveal, and I am Jen Toffel, Medicine Woman, and we've got lots of things happening today, and lots of technology going at this time, and that means that my co-host, the awesome co-host that she is, was running different things, and we got several different things going on right now. So
Yes, this is Brenda Bates, Medicine Woman, and I am glad that we are able to do our show today. So it does look like it's airing and everything looks good. We just had some little bit of wardrobe malfunctions.
and set malfunction and
Yeah.
whatever. It's
We did get some pictures up. We got to finish putting some pictures up of Jen. And then we've got to, we got our intro out. Everybody's been waiting. And it's funny because it's 222.
that's the video link, which is awesome.
Sorry, my husband.
Your husband, I happen to.
Yeah, you
I
got
don't know
nothing
if
to do
the
with
person
it.
that I'm with
Oh my
thinks
God.
about that, but it's your husband. He's a great
Okay.
guy, but
Hey, I'm trying to channel and I'm trying to get it.
and the technology and everything all together.
Yeah, and then is everything tucked in? Oh, I forgot my gloves. Okay, we'll get that in a minute. But anyways, I will hopefully look better after our intro or our break. Oh, good Lord, I have no idea what I'm saying. My husband played the Cat in the Hat, and so if that helps you just a little bit, Jen, can you quickly read? No, because she doesn't have it.
Can I quickly
Okay, we really
read?
don't want to read it again. It's inside the intro, and it was a little poem that I created, and it introduced that we are Thing 1!
And thing 2.
And of course, Jen is Thing 2, and I'm Thing 1! And we can find anything under the sun. And why? Because we're Medicine Women Reveal, and we believe in being spiritual investigators instead of just people that love to be interrogators. Because there's a big difference in this world. When we become spiritual investigators, there's no judgment or blame. We just find the energy, we read it, we help you see where you got stuck, where you couldn't process, where things couldn't move. And then, if you're in ego or survival format, what happens?
It feels like interrogation, even though that is not what's happening. We are simply telling you, you are losing life force energy, and it's going here, and we want you to have it back.
Exactly. And when you are in survival mindset, it'll feel like BBs. It'll feel like they're just being rude.
Why are you telling me my life is wrong?
Yeah, and how dare you? Who do
My
you think
choices
you
are
are?
awful.
And so not everybody can take and understand a reading, but if you are spiritually awakened, it will make more sense. And if you start using the tools, then you won't take offense. Oh, we're already starting the rhyming, and that's about time.
Okay, that's right.
Because we have what? The breaks coming up.
Yes.
So we have to readjust camera.
And welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining us. Apologize for the first few minutes of the show as the tech issues abound. The microphone on my headset was off, so I apologize for the first few minutes of silence. So thank you for being here with us and journeying with us as we move forward on our special Halloween. Hopefully lots of laughter and lots of fun and lots of spiritual insights in the form of a poem or two or more. And so we have had a good time putting together the costumes that we're wearing, as Brenda mentioned, but didn't hear, but we are Thing 1 and Thing 2 from Dr. Seuss, and that is what we had planned, and we put the intro for the show out, created YouTube video. Thank you, co-host, who is the tech guru as far as film editing and getting that out there. We love the fact that our video is the length of 2 minutes and 22 seconds, so that is great.
Well, what I'm hoping is that the video camera does get the shot of me. I'm unable to pre-test it because of other things that have happened, so this could be the crappiest video I've ever taken. I'm not going to be able to tell because there's nobody but us here, and I'll do my best to stay in the shot. It is a Halloween day, so we want to say Happy Halloween to everybody out there, and just remember to be nice to the animals, take care of those little ones, and watch out because there's going to be tons of people when that dude still trick-or-treat. With the cost of candy, I don't know if that just means that they are going to be able to trick-or-treat or not. You can go trick-or-treating, will you collect candy? That would be the thing.
Be safe and be well, and most importantly, have fun and be safe.
Yes.
And treat each other well.
I'm just double checking here to see whether or not that everything is clicked on, everything is okay, and we have a lot of interesting things. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to just have a lot of fun talking about stuff, and we have collected some jokes and things because it is Dr. Seuss. One of the things, not sure exactly what inspired me or what came first. I cannot seem to remember. I told my daughter, but don't remember why. Spirit comes through, and
we just knew that this is what we were supposed to be for Halloween.
Exactly. And we're going to read by Scott Grace. He's got a middle name. And what is his middle name?
Kellickstein?
Yeah, and it may not be his middle name, I don't know. Scott Kellickstein Grace. And he writes these wonderful things. And I thought we'd start off with, oh dear, the end times are here. The end of fear. Gather, my friends, cause the end times are near. Not the end of the world, but the end of fear. Your fear. So turn off your lights, make it dark now, I dare you. Stick around for a while, and I'm going to unscare you. Now when you were young and most things were quite swell, fear knocked on your door with a product to sell, and like most good salesmen, he cast quite a spell, while selling insurance called All Is Not Well. And all that is not well came into its own case. The case, there's dangers all over the place, and after you bought it, your all is not well. You felt your duty to share it and tell. Now we got Facebook for that. And so mouth to mouth was how fear procreated, with YouTube or Facebook to decimate it. Fear soon went viral all over the globe using old-time religion to dispense and promote. Because fear knew the way to get globally big was to drive a false wedge between God and his kids. And that's how he came to be so domineering. By replacing God loving with, you must God fear, in God fearing. Then fear and religion began to co-create and cooked up a symbol of fear they called Satan, as if infinite love had a worthy opponent with pitchforks in hand who could strike any moment. The concept was great for maintaining control, making people behave as if they were on parole. Because when God-fearing people are scared for their soul, they put much more silver and gold in the bowl. So business was booming and fear kept on spreading, and fear loved the credit the devil was getting, because fear much preferred to stay hidden from view and play hide and seek in its host, which is you. I'm not afraid, I'm not angry, it shouts. I've been mistreated and need to speak out. I'm not afraid, I'm upset, and I'm caring. So my disguise that fear enjoys wearing. He's proud of his wardrobe because he designed it, though he wouldn't admit it. Fear quite close-minded. So he doesn't realize that he's often dressed funny, wearing layers of worry, looking like a stress bunny. And when you're not looking for dresses, you too, in stress bunny outfits that don't become you. Because when you wear worry, it wears tight and stiff from statically, okay, there's my trouble.
Statically clinging?
From statically clinging, oh I said it right, to imagine what ifs. Worst case scenarios, fill your projector, then fear says, don't worry, I'll be your protector. He shows you his life insurance policy and says, here's what you get when you sign up with me. You get 2 notches around the clock security. An armed alarm system on your body, and if you're harassed, I'm your personal bouncer for making decisions. I'll be your guidance counselor. No more will I let you take risks that could hurt you. Just stick with me, kid. I'll never desert you. Now all of your loved ones have already signed. Don't be the black sheep. Join the flock. You'll be fine. So you signed up and breathed a big sign of relief because you thought you'd feel safer with fear as your chief. But the contract had fine print too. To be seen, too fine to be seen, and you didn't read the clause that denied you your dreams. From then on, heart's desire that came to be birthed were blocked by fears before it could reach earth. It seemed your new policy's whole life protection was more birth controlling than most contraception. How could you conceive a life more abundant with fear in your ear like a cable news pundit? Who's yelling? I'm telling the truth. Fair and balanced, while drowning out most of your love, gifts, and talents.
Now fear says, get real. That's his bottom line thing, and fear learned what's real from his friend Stephen King, whose collection of books made outstanding addictions as long as you realize you are reading from fiction, which is what you can do with your own fear collection. Just transfer them all to your mind's fiction section. Because no matter how gripping a tale fear can tell, its original premise that all is not well is a bit topsy-turvy in this universe and deserves to be laughed off the face of the earth. And while you are laughing, you let in the light, which makes fear pack his bags and get on the next flight. Because he needs to feel needed, and if you choose joy, well, then fear has no choice but to be unemployed. Fear used to feel needed when lions were chasing you, gathering speed with intentions of tasting you. But nowadays, most of the lions we find are fictional cats roaming round in our minds. And when you stop feeding the cats in your head, they just go away because they're not getting fed. And with a clear head, you are free now to choose a channel that's broadcasting much better news. So you get off the couch and turn off the TV and tune into WLOVE. It's free of commercials with nothing to sell. Just a steady reminder that all is quite well. And all is quite well is insurance enough. You're already covered by a plan you can trust. You've got Universal, the original plan. And there's never a moment that you're not in good hands. You're no longer buying fear's insurance scam, because you know every moment you are in good hands.
I love the way he puts spirituality into a poem, and that's quite deep.
Yes.
So I often, when you over-identify with not able to solve the issue, so you have the situation where nothing's going right, and that throws you off your center of joy. You were joyful, and then, you become stressed. 80% of that blood leaves your forebrain.
Like tech issues and microphones and cameras that don't work, and sometimes people can say, "Wait, that person's a jerk."
She's gonna do good. And when you get thrown off, now there's the stage of the way that your competence and incompetence, we're not calling you names, it's just a stage of how you learn. And that beginning stage is this baby stage, and what happens is that it's everybody's fault. I mean, look, I bumped into the table, but for the baby, it is the table bumped into me. It's somebody else's fault.
What's it doing here?
And you feel, after a while, from that moment that it happened, you take that decision and you say, that is it. That's what happened. And that becomes your foundation of what creates your life today. And who knew that as baby form, that it was going to make such a world of difference? I mean, a baby making a decision for your adult life, it's time to upgrade these programs. But in order to cope, pacify, deal, handle, really, as a baby, all you can do is pacify. You haven't even learned it yet. You got to figure out how to cope and deal with what's going on that threw you off your center. And part of the thinking is that you make a decision, that's got to be it. Now, if you've ever talked to a little child, a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, about how it came to its conclusion, you'd be quite amazed. You're like, I would have never thought that came out of that. And you ain't pointing to the child, you're pointing at the how, A got all the way to Z when it missed all these letters in between. It just doesn't seem like it makes any rhyme or reason. But what happens is that we come up with that solution. Why? Because that is what pacifies you. The feeling, the answer, the decision that you made. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. We're just going to say that's it. Yeah. Yeah, it calms down those chemical peptides. All of a sudden, it makes the world of sense. If you ever had your heart broken, or from somebody leaving you, or someone dying, and if you've never had an experience by that, it's an amazing how you are shocked, and the shock waves. You'd be happy a second, and then you don't know where you are the next, and you feel this welling going to come up inside of you, and you don't want that to happen, and you don't want to feel not like you're feeling. So then all of a sudden you have to think. And then you're going to say, oh my God, yes, it was the purple rug on the ceiling that caused, yes, that's it. What was in your line of sight when it occurred? And who was the players in that room? It'd be their fault too. And if you really are in that stage, it'll never be your fault. And the toughest part is that what really stays confined in this world is that as your spirit grows, which is different than who you are as a human being, because you over-identified with matter, and then your soul's telling you, it's time for you to move, do a path switch. Path switches can be very hard, because the players that you had in your life that called home, called family, called friends, and your spirit is telling you that you have to do something other than the rules, other than what love's telling you to do. And you're like, seriously? You want me to just get up on stage? You want me to move to another country? You want me to sing a new tale? You want me to be somebody I'm not? But here's the thing. I've seen many people lose their homes. Oh, I love this home, and you will dwell and romanticize why you love this home. And
all the memories that were there and everything that was created, and
the torture, the hell, and the next thing you know, you have to move to another place. Oh, it's a dump. Then it's torture and hell, and then all of a sudden you start to upgrade. And then all of a sudden you find the home, and it's like you go into your home and you're like, wow, this is where I'm supposed to be, and you know it. But if you couldn't let go of that one piece, you will never get to grow into who you want to become, where you're supposed to be, and what you're supposed to be doing. So some of the decisions that are made around you aren't going to make any sense to anyone but you. Even at the time that you're making them, it don't make sense either. But the stirring inside doesn't mean there's something off kilter. And it's interesting how people treat you as if, oh, you're going through a midlife crisis, or oh, they
have to explain it away in terms that they understand,
They gotta
because
cope.
most people don't understand the idea when you say, I'm listening to my soul, or spirit is guiding me to do this. That is clearly, it's not rational. That's not the next logical step. That's not, we were, back in my day, I was, you go to school, you go to college, and you go to your job, and you go there till you get a pension, and then you were happy that you got it. And so the idea of wanting to do something, oh, you're just a hippie. You know how those hippies are that just, they don't have respect for any kind of authority.
And how do you, what we've learned through the spirituality as well as through the alternative world of health, and everything's energy. When you start to bridge spirit and religion, and you will see that one of the things is that if I can get you to not like her with mob mentality, then I've won, because I now am the good person, because like in the movie Clockwork Orange, goodness is what's accepted in society. And if I can paint a picture and get you to convince you that, her thing 1, 2 is crooked and she should not be wearing that. She should be ashamed of that. And then, so somebody will walk, yeah! Now you should just be ashamed for wearing thing 2.
And you're not with us, you're against us.
Exactly. And spirituality is a third option. It is a different way of thinking. It is the unity of male and female, and by coming together you rise above where it is judgment and blame. You rise above even further when there's shame. You don't have to have guilt. You don't have to have any of those things, because the emotion that was tied to getting you to get the reaction is feeding you that experience. So you have the experience, you get thrown off center, you can't process, and so you have to deal, cope, pacify, and control. And then you have to be more in control because you don't want that to happen again. So you have to label it, and you have to say it's this, that, or the other. When that occurs, then if you heard us say it, you talked about insurance policy, is that we use our ego, which is just a filter, an electromagnetic guiding omni-apparition. And what it is we over-identify, and we hold the pain to say, if I remember that, then it won't happen again. And what happens with when the law of attraction comes in? It only creates more of what you think about. So we have already gone through our first segment, and we're going to take a little break. Welcome back. This is Brenda Bates, Medicine Woman, and we are Medicine Woman Reveal.
And I'm Jen Toffel, Medicine Woman, and you're listening to us on the Illuminati Network.
Yes. So this is our spiritual studios. If you hear us on our second half introduction, we talk about this is the spiritual studios of Medicine Woman Reveal. We decorated our set today, and we are Thing 1.
And Thing 2.
And the thing about that is it's a Dr. Seuss character. We were just reading from Scott Grace, and it said, oh dear, the end times are here, the end of fear. You can find that, just Google it, you'll find him, and he has a lot of things that he does. Very thankful for him to put in spirituality to words. That is very fun. And we're going to come up with one of our jokes now. Did we finish the last segment? Yes, just pointing very much clear that when you trust your ego, and you trust the over-identifications and all the emotions that are there will help you come up with rational, irrational, or distorted versions of your responsibility as a human being about how to function in society and how to cope with those moments. One of the things that we love to teach at Medicine Woman Reveal is how you can use our healing tools. And they're all free, and if you want our services, you have to pay for those, but you just go to
www.mwreveal.com. M as in medicine, W as in women, REVEAL.com.
Yes, and if you look onto the left-hand side, you'll see a drop-down menu and look for healing tools. We're rearranging the site, doing what we need to do. So we're excited.
Yeah,
We're excited. So one of the things that occurred, so let's see, do you think that they're listening? We have a caller, or do they want a reading? Because what should we do? Because I don't really want to get into this joke if I'm going to laugh my butt off.
Right. Part of me feels like, since there's enough time in this segment to address the caller and then get into what is hilarious, so that...
All right, well, let's just find out then.
Okay, so...
Because some of these jokes, you got to really Make sure you've gone to the bathroom.
Okay,
I have to compose myself.
so let's see what our caller has to say. Hello, you're on with the Medicine Woman. Thank you for calling in.
Hi, caller. Yes, you're calling. You're on the air. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to because we are video recording our show today, and so I'm just going to reiterate that the caller wants us to do a reading. Life is just feeling unfair. It feels sad. It feels grief. It's just like, can it get any better than this? All I can feel is the emotions and
Dwelling in those who have gone on and missing them and being in those, which is, you know, you want to honor those people, but dwelling in the sadness is...
Well, there is a time of mourning, but then there is a time that you have to not take up residence in that space. And yes, the moon can affect you in many different ways. So can the solar eclipse. So can anything. But we want to find out what is the personal connection that allows you to just go there and lose it. There had to be some form of trigger. So there's two different ways that we're going to do this. I'm going to grab some cards, but then I'm also going to look at your energy field to see what is on that deeper scale. So right now they're saying if you needed some education, not school, but what do you know about life after death? Do you know anything about the process of the soul? Yeah. Excellent. 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 So yes, yeah, your soul has a lot of work to do, and it does. Once this physical form passes, you do go back home per se, and you do some more living over there, because there's lives between lives, and then when you're ready to come back, you come back. And when you go over there, a lot of people think, you know, are they okay? Yes. Every loved one that's ever come through to me that has always said, I'm okay. You know, it's so different than you can ever imagine. And it depends on how we can wrap our mind around the subject. And I love the fact that you're right. You are the one that judges you. Because you have to decide how you're going to let go. Because we do have an emotional and mental bodies. And you're judging whether or not, did I pass the test or not? That's why Medicine Women Reveal help people that are on this plane of existence to resolve the emotions to closure, so that you then can be more free of not over-identifying with the pain. And so that you are more back into being your spiritual self. So as far as your loved ones go, there's a whole group of people that I see off in the distance that are waving, and you're not going to believe who grouped with who, which that usually means a sign that, like for instance, my mother and father had divorced, but yet when they got to the other side, even though they didn't like each other over here, they're together. Their souls travel together, and when your souls travel together, you have a tendency to come in, let's say, all right, I'll be your mortal enemy in this lifetime, but you know, when you go back over, they're their best friends or they're soulmates. And
hey, can you believe that we did that? And yeah, did you learn anything when I was your enemy?
yeah, so there's a lot of things, and the sadness on our part is that feeling of loss. And when we feel that separation from our true self, just like boredom, when you start feeling boredom, that's actually a sign that you are disconnected from your spirit and you can't be creative. So we're going to just dive in a little bit more. Since you already know all this stuff that, you know, yeah, it feels good. I do. This is what I feel. I believe. I know that the spirits on the other side feel great. Now, let's dive in a little bit further of why that feeling nature has to be so controlling, because there is something that threw you off your center of happiness. Now I'm going to let Jen do some reading.
Okay, well, you're doing some digging, and so hopefully the reading that I'm doing will help in your digging.
Mm-hmm.
So I am using two different decks. I'm using the Wisdom of Avalon by Colette Baron Reed, and I'm also pairing the cards with from the deck Earth Magic by Stephen Furmer. So the first sets of cards are Partnership and Effortless, and they're both in the reverse position. And so rather than thinking of the traditional partnership, what are things that are partnered in your life? It could be friendships, it could be they're even pointing me to look at the people in your life with maybe certain pets. Oh, that doesn't seem like a good pairing. And so it seems like anytime there's a duality, there's a partnership of any kind, it feels like it's effort, it's work, it can't go smooth. There's a glitch. It's like you're pushing that rock up the mountain anytime a partnering comes together. And then they're saying, look at the template of your childhood, potentially with the parents your parents. So then what's next, the two cards that come up are disruption and emergence. So there is a disruption each time that you want to come forward, your true nature, your true self. If you were able to say, oh my gosh, I remember so-and-so, but do it from such a loving and joyful, and they're just so awesome, instead of what the conditioning of our culture would say, oh, well, you have to respect them and mourn them and grieve them, and it has to be sad anytime that you think of so-and-so. That's a disruption in who you are coming forward. Because you understand all this, and this is just an example of what you were talking about, but there is a disruption for you to come forward, for you to emerge. And then the next set of cards are communication and promise. And communication is in the reverse position, and then there's the promise. So the communication, how did people speak to you? And they're saying to use the example of love equals such and such. Love in its purest state is unconditional. It just is. It's a very neutral life force energy that is that unconditional force. But growing up with people, being influenced by friendships or I don't know, scouting or the church or whatever, there can be a distorted form of what love is. When people say, oh, I love you, and then they place all kinds of rules and restrictions. They talk to you in a very decimating tone, but you have to know that they love you. So it gets really distorted as far as communication goes. And so anytime a promise is made, I want to say that anytime a promise is made, if somebody promised you something, it's through a distorted form of communication. Does that...
Sorry, that's a sign that spirits are around me. One of the things I've noticed is that there's an active memory. Something, a broadcast message, meaning there's energy that was in your space that, like if you're watching TV and a soap opera came on, or something in the show triggered a memory, just maybe the smell of bread, but it has a different energy in the home. And so then I said, okay, what is the energy in the home? And then now has your mother passed? Okay, so she is present now. But what's interesting is she was present because I can see her, but I don't. I keep seeing this downcast of eyes, and it could be the fact that it's sad and there's no way to look up. But then it said that the trigger, whatever it is, triggered your will, which is the volition to move, be happy, do things. It became paralyzed. So an active memory at 3 years old. So whatever happened at 3, it was based on feeling mortified. Mortified, Jen, is...
Oh, I mean, it is the ultimate form of shame. When something happens, it's just, and that's where sometimes the phrase, I wish I were dead, or the will to die comes forward, because it's just like, I wish the ground would swallow me whole. You just don't want to be in that situation because it's just so embarrassing.
And the reason why that's coming up is that they said it's a pattern. There's something that you saw growing up, and the pattern is very simply about how people act, react, behave, and it's the normalcy that's inside your house. And we create our own patterns based on what we are exposed to as a kid, but there is a particular pattern that's reappearing. Now, again, not only do I feel the presence of family members, I just feel like there's an animal that had died, but I don't think it was yours, or, I mean, I don't want to say that, it's just that it's not recent, it just seems so long ago. Because everybody, and the picture is, everybody is on their knees, looking down at this small, whatever that small is, a small animal, small baby, or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes. Yes. Yes, because that's what it looks like, and it's like, and I couldn't, Okay, so that makes sense. But whatever the feeling was, the mortified that this animal died, you know, you just like, oh my God, really? And you just felt for it. And I feel like what's happening is because you got the solar eclipse coming up. I have a feeling that you pick up people's emotions around you. This is a slow development of being an empath. I mean, there's a part of you that knows what people are not really thinking as much as feeling, and they don't even know what's going on themselves. Does this make sense? Okay, so that when, and I'm just going to tell the video camera that the caller said that there was even a picture of it, but when they were younger, there was an animal that had passed by maybe getting run over, and they had a elaborate funeral and all of this stuff for this animal. And I think you at that age picked up and felt what the family members were thinking, and you know, maybe, you know, it's just weird because the feeling is that, you know how parents will do things for the child, but then they can be mortified. Oh God, I hope nobody's watching what I'm doing. Like men dressing in tutus for their daughters. You know, just a certain act that it's an innocent thing, but as a child, it may not be understood. So there's a lot of feelings, and I think you picked up everybody. But
There's an association of this partnership.
Yes.
And this association is also the partnership of, oh, I'm putting, if somebody's doing this, like you're using the silly example of men in tutus, but whatever the association is, that feeling, whatever it is now, I have to associate this emotion with this.
Right, and so in your adult life, you are now picking up the energies that are out there in group consciousness. I mean, yesterday I was feeling a lot of grief. Something's going on this planet because my body feels like it wants to fall apart. It hurts, but I think you can pick up, and you're picking up these vibes, and you don't know what to do with them. So it triggers a memory, which then gravitates you to dwell there, and even if you're not even sure what you're thinking about, but all of a sudden a person's memory of a person will come in. And what's interesting about the people you've lost, I think they're actually present, and that's why you think of those people, because I think that's their way of telling you, hi. I don't think they mean to trigger you to feel sad, but how else are they going to get your attention? And then all of a sudden, your association of that person is maybe the loss. Again, the energies are there, and they're really much emphasizing we didn't mean to make her cry. We just wanted to say hello. But it's a pattern, and there's a pattern. Now, when loved ones come through, one of the major things they do is they look at my files, and I can't tell who it is, but I know it's an extension of the mother that said, but you got a pattern. We watch you do this, and it is a dwelling. So did your mother wallow or dwell in certain emotions and stories? Okay. She could have done it in her younger days, because when people get older, they change. And they do it differently, and they mellow and do all the other things. Because all I know is that somehow they're saying that, because what they're doing is they're pointing to you, and they're saying in the home environment. Now, all I can tell you is that you could have morphed into, if you're living with people, or in the house, like if you have I don't know why I'm saying credenza, but you have you have a piece of furniture from the people in the past, and there's a lot of emotions on it, you know, and okay.
So
Okay,
if you clean
need
it
to clean them.
with lemon.
Oh wow, a lot of stuff. Oh, no wonder. Right. Okay, that's good, but okay, so here's the thing. You're an empath, I'm going to tell you that right now, and because of that ability, you are picking up old memories, new memories, but you are picking up, and then as they vibe this energy out from it, you have a tendency to think that they're your own, and then you're walking around and you start morphing. Morphing is something that people do that are really extremely intuitive and empath, and you can't help it. So the thing is I would, because if you have so much, you can, I feel like there's like one piece of furniture, you know, a cabinet or something that's tall, that maybe you should get some lemon oil and clean that up. But otherwise, if you can take some, you know, make some lemon spray or something with real lemons, and just kind of spritz the house and different areas. There's all these other things you can use. You can sage if you want. There's a bottle of wands to clean out the energy. But, you know, and then welcome the new energy that's stored in those particular furniture pieces. Because even if you're sleeping on a pillow, just remember to bless it. Just bless the pillow, because it's in a new area, it's in a new space. It's yours now, and it's time to say that you need to put your imprint on it of joy and happiness. Does this make sense? Ah, yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, yeah, just take and get some, yeah, because that's what's stuck in my head. But if you can clean it, bless it. I mean, don't worry that you're doing it wrong. You're not doing it wrong. Just call in an archangel or two, and just have them help you. Say, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but I know you know how. I'm going to call you in. We're going to cleanse this piece, and any energy that's stuck there, we're going to send it to the light, and clean it off and clear. And if you feel like a piece is stuck, you say cancel, clear, and delete, or clear, 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 and just, it's all about intention, and it's all about allowing yourself to be balanced. And so you have, like I said, you have a tendency. So they tell me when you go out of the house, just kind of, like repeat infinite love and gratitude, and just kind of imagine that your energy around you is building up of infinite love and gratitude, so that you don't have to always feel like you have to be on guard that something is mortifying could happen and around you, because there's a part of you that didn't like that experience. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay, because one of the things is that I didn't want to ask, but did you take care of somebody that was dying, and did you have them in your house, or were you always going to their house? Because there's a piece of something, and I keep seeing you going back and helping and taking care of a sick person. There's a memory stuck to something in your room. Okay. Yeah. Because that's a very strong memory. Time does not matter for anything. And you may want to, like I said, cleanse the place, but if you get to the point where these memories are flooding back too much, you can use a healing tool. One of them I would definitely say would be the Oh My God points. Now you can find our tools, we'll tell you that in a minute, but place in your hand, either hand, on your forehead and your hairline, and just place your hand there, and just like, let's say you're thinking of your friend, put that feeling on a scale of 0 to 10 and give it a color and say, oh God, it's an 8, it's green. Put your hand on your forehead and your hairline and just sit there and allow yourself to think it. What happens is that the blood leaves your forebrain when you're stressed or when you go into sadness, and by placing your hand on your forehead and your hairline, the blood will start coming back up. It starts cleansing out those chemical peptides, and what will happen is all of a sudden the 8 will start to go down to nothingness, and the color will change, and you will actually feel relief. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, to get more insight about that particular healing tool, Jen?
Our website is www.mwreveal, M as in medicine, W as in women, REVEAL.com.
And thank you, my dear. Did you feel like we did, was sort of accurate? Oh, good, thank you. And if you believe it's good, can you just kind of share and pay it forward by telling others about us? That would be great. And we send angels to bless your day. Oh, thank you. Well, we appreciate it. We'll stop by on our webpage and say hi to us so we can get a lovely face or energy, and so we can put you in our prayer box and say, send love to her today. We always send out love to everybody, but, the more personal we can get as far as a name and stuff, it kind of helps. Or just a picture. We don't have, But thank you so much, and you have a good day. And happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. All right,
Many
thanks.
blessings.
Bye-bye. So just to recap before we go to our break, what you probably couldn't hear on video. See, before we used to do the videos all the time because we didn't wear headsets, and so you could actually hear the caller.
And we would amplify through different speakers as
Yeah.
far as the caller.
But the caller was sharing that there were pieces of furniture that was spot on, and there was something that was, so she has a piece of furniture that was her father's that needs to be cleansed. She sees it every day. And she thought about him yesterday. Then her friend because I was saying that she keeps going to that person's house. And sure enough, yep, she had a friend that was dying from cancer, and she kept visiting and taking care of. So there was a lot of hits on what was being said.
So we're not saying that you're going to get rid of the memories and you're going to get rid of the person when you do the cleansing. What's going to happen is that you're going to be free from the emotions that just cause you to wallow or dwell or just be and that's we want you to have your life force and remember them, and you can remember a person and have all those great memories and not just feel so overwhelmed.
So let's just break it down even further. What happens is it's your emotional ties and strings that you identified with in such pain. And when you store the memory, you have all of the, it was loving, good memories and stuff like this. We're not destroying, avoiding, or taking off anything. We're just taking the charge off of some of those memories that just are to make you dwell in pain, negativity, and fear. So when you take that charge off, you still get to have the full memories, but they're not haunting you, they're not controlling you. And it's like,
it's not depleting.
Yeah, and what we call is cleaning the countertop. When you're cutting up food and doing things like this, and you wipe it off to do the next product, you're not saying that the food didn't exist. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the show. I'm Brenda Bates, Medicine Woman.
I'm Jen Toffel, Medicine Woman.
And you're listening to Medicine Women Reveal
on the Illuminati Network.
And we have some really good stuff. So one of the stories or jokes that we're going to talk about coming up, and there's some commercials that, as I'm reading this, oh my god,
it's amazing when you start focusing on certain things that all of a sudden,
Universe
did you know that there was this product, there's this product, there's this, you should look at this. Okay.
And no way in any form are we trying to promote it or deny it, but the point is we're pointing it out. And it's just hilarious. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we don't know. All I know is that we're going to see if you can kind of guess what the joke you think it's going to be. And so I happen to have a Facebook friend that says, as they're watching all the stuff I'm posting, they privately say, well, how about this one? Have you ever heard of the fart-filtered underwear?
I had not heard of it until you brought it to my attention.
So we have watched the little video and stuff like this, and then it has for men and women.
That's great.
And there's a fart filter underwear, and it is a carbon type of filter that's in that back panel, and apparently it filters out the passing gas or the certain amount of emission that comes from back there. And they actually have done their best, I guess, somewhere, that they have
tested the product.
And there's a certain amount of emission that people give off, and guess who what country is the best that buys the most fart filtered underwear?
And it's not the United States?
It is!
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Well, I know some
the
people
biggest customers
who's getting some great Christmas presents.
Oh, but talk about those great Christmas presents. So the fart filter underwear, it is very much the stretchy, they're comfortable, and they have the filter, and apparently they filter out those stinkies. What else filters out stinkies is something called poo-pourri. And it is a spray. It's made of essential oils. Now, we love essential oils. We use them all the time. Never thought about using something like that for that reason. And it's a little spritzer you take and inside the toilet, just usually one spritz.
Before you go, you put it in the toilet bowl, spray it on the water.
Yep. I was told that just take one little spritz, covers and creates a seal. So when your little astronaut drops in, or you pinch a loaf, and anything that comes out and you create something, you
toxic,
create a creamy behemoth from your cavernous bowel, as she says.
That means that your intestines are cleaned out. We do like that.
Yeah, well, we don't know if they got cleaned out.
Something happened.
But anyways, and sometimes that smell smells like a bunch of herd of cattle. Well, once it drops in, it just makes a beautiful flowering smell. And I love when the woman that did the commercial. You just want to laugh.
She's awesome.
We'll be back after this. And we're back. I am Brenda Bates, Medicine Woman.
I'm Jen Toffel, Medicine Woman.
And you are listening to Medicine Women Reveal
on the Illuminati Network.
And we were talking about poo-pourri, and it is an essential oil spray that you spray one spritz or two on the top of your bowl before you go. And so it's
on the water.
yeah, it's in the bowl before
It's in
you
the
go.
bowl.
Okay, and so your business is nobody else's business. So it was kind of interesting to see that, but then I talked to people that admitted that they use it and it works. And then I was told from one person, I'm so excited about it that I guess I know I'm getting Christmas now. So
Fan.
it doesn't do anything for the skid marks in the toilet though. So
You still have to clean your toilet. Haha.
So okay.
Oh, Nelly.
All right, let's see if we can do this.
Okay.
It's I can't remember the title of it except for the boobs saved the day. And we're gonna see if
That's
I
the
can do this.
theme. The boobs saved the day. See how that happens in this story, people.
Okay, ready? God, it was about 5 years ago. I was trying to lose a few pounds, so I was staying away from carbs. That's when I met my husband, Rob. On our first date, he booked the next two. He was so excited. He liked me. I liked him. Things were looking real good. He picked me up in his Cobra Mustang, and his pathetic attempt to win me over with a car totally worked. I'm not shallow, but since I spent most of my 20s picking men up because I didn't want my fuzzy hair or my hair to get fuzzy and those non-air-conditioned jalopies on 3 wheels and a 15-year-old spare, I welcomed this fancy sports car with open arms. We arrived at the restaurant and Rob was ordering food, and I hadn't allowed myself to eat in years. I didn't want to be that girl, so I ate, drank, and oh, was I merry. Later, we shopped a bit. Rob surprised me by buying an expensive pair of shoes that he caught me eyeing. Was this love? That's when it happened. Gas strikes in 2 different ways. Uncontrollable toots or sharp shooting pains that feel a lot like dying. I thought I was dying. Not to make a scene, I told Rob I suddenly wasn't feeling well and probably needed to head home. On the way home in his Cobra, he tried to hold my hand and ask me lots of questions, but I wasn't having any of it. The pain was so bad it felt like I was being stabbed with a bunch of tiny forks. Then I realized, my God, help me. I have a horrendous fart on deck. I'm in trouble, big trouble. The more I held it in, the more pain would shoot through my stomach and down my legs. I was even having to raise myself off the seat, gripping onto my door and the dashboard. Seriously, you need to hurry. I'm in a lot of pain. I managed to say through gritted teeth, wow, it's that bad. What's wrong? Do I need to take... Oh, he says, wow, it's that bad? What's wrong? Do I need to take you to the hospital? How do you tell a man you just started dating that the reason you're withering in pain is because you have to fart? Well, you can either tell him or, like me, and let the fart speak for itself. People hear me. There was nothing I could do. As impressive as I am with sphincter control, this was out of my hands. Slowly it out. The more I tried to stop it, the more force it seemed to weigh it through the door. However, to my pleasant surprise, there was no sound. I sat silently, sweat accumulated above my upper lip. Okay, maybe I got away with it. Maybe I'm home free. Then it hit me. Not an idea. A cloud. A horrific fart cloud. Not in a, am I smelling something? Sort of way. No. Like is someone dead and rotting in the trunk and am I in hell? Sort of way. Suddenly, I panicked. I rolled down the windows. I screamed. I was literally screamed it like I was in a horror movie. He's like, what? Why? Rob! I asked. He goes, no. As I'm screaming to roll down that window, he started to freak out because I was freaking out. I can't roll down the window! Unlock it! What's going on? Rob yells back to me. Why are you... Then it hit him. I could see it in his eyes. Was it a surprise? Horror, maybe? Water started to accumulate at the base of my eyelids. Oh my God, I can taste it, he screamed. Roll down the windows as I screamed. The tooth started to flood out uncontrollably. I scratched and clawed at the window like I was being kidnapped. Rob, unable to see either my fart cloud or panty, kept turning on the windshield wipers instead of unlocking the window. It was chaos. We were acting like we were under siege by gunfire. We were under siege, all right, just not by gunfire. Finally, he was able to hit the right control, and he rolled down our windows. We both gulped in fresh air. I was horrified, yet happy to be alive. Then remembered I just farted on the man of my dreams. Then sort of wished I was dead. We sat silent for the rest of the way home, although the shooting pains had subsided. I now desperately needed to use the bathroom. In an urgent, explosive kind of way. He pulled up to my apartment, and before he could stop, I had already jumped out. Okay, thanks for dinner. Sorry about the fart. Love the shoes, and ran to the apartment like I was running from the cops. I bursted through my door and ran straight for the bathroom, where I was finally able to unleash and make noises that no one should ever hear coming from another person. Then I heard it, Rob's voice, right outside my bathroom door. Anna, you left your shoes in the car and your front door was open. Where do you want me to put them? Get away from the door! I screamed like Reagan from The Exorcist. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Are you okay? Toot toot splatter, ungodly noise. I'm fine, Rob. Just leave the shoes there. I'll call you later. Okay. You sure you're? I'm fine. Get away from the door. This man, I love him, but take a frickin' hint. Finally, I heard the front door shut and the Cobra engine zoom away. I thought that was the last I had heard from him. I didn't think it was possible to ever see a man again after he screams he can taste your fart after only knowing you for 48 hours. But to my surprise, I did. A couple of days later, actually, now we're married and he's lying on the couch while I type this. It was your rack that saved you. He just lovingly reminded me, well, thank you, boobs. You saved us. You saved our destiny. Hey, I didn't do too bad. No, that was the first time I read that. I was just sitting at my computer, and it was one of those emails or wherever, and I laughed so hard I had to catch my breath, stop and pause.
It's like when we read the best autocorrects.
Oh God, yeah, you gotta take a break in between.
Oh my gosh.
And so then, what was funny was then I had to read it on air. We had done it one more time on the air as far as reading that joke, and I really almost lost it trying to read it. So this time I'm impressed.
Yes, it's very well done.
Okay, so that's why we had the fart stories, the fart filter, and the poopery, and maybe she should have had some of those, and she would have not had such agonizing torment of the person that she was falling in love with. All right, Jen's now going to read something. Now, let's see.
A dramatic reading entitled Wax On, Wax Off. Wax is not your friend. All hair removal methods have tricked women with their promises of easy, painless removal.
Painless?
The Epilady, scissors, razors, Nair, and now the wax. My night began as any other normal weeknight. Come home, fix dinner, play with the kids. I then had the thought that would ring painfully in my mind for the next few hours. Maybe I should pull the waxing kit out of the medicine cabinet. So I headed to the site of my demise, the bathroom. It was one of those cold wax kits. I'm laughing because that's just a ridiculous concept. Anyway, no melting a clump of hot wax. You just rub the strips together in your hand, they get warm, and you peel them apart and press them to your leg. Or wherever else. And you pull the hair right off. No muss, no fuss. How hard can it be? I mean, I'm not a genius, but I am mechanically inclined enough to figure this out. You think? Excuse me. So I pull one of the thin strips out. It's 2 strips facing each other, stuck together. Instead of rubbing them together, as the directions instructed, my genius kicks in. Genius, I tell you. So I get the hair dryer and heat it to 1,000 degrees.
Oh.
Cold wax? Yeah, right. I lay the strip across my thigh, hold the skin tight around it, tight, and pull. Rip. It works. Okay, so it wasn't the best feeling, but it wasn't too bad. I can do this. Hair removal no longer eludes me. I am a She-Ra, fighter of all wayward body hair and maker of smooth skin extraordinaire. With me, next wax strip, I move north. After checking the kids, I sneak back into the bathroom for the ultimate hair fighting championship. I drop my panties and place one foot on the toilet. Using the same procedure, I apply the one strip across the right side of my bikini line, covering the right half of my hoo-hoo, and stretching it down to the inside of my butt cheek. Yes, it was a long strip. I inhale deeply and brace myself. Rip! I'm blind! Blinded from the pain! Oh my God! Vision returning, I notice that I've only managed to pull off half the strip. Oh crap! Another deep breath and rip. Everything is swirly and spotted. I think I may pass out. Must stay conscious. Do I hear crashing drums? Breathe, breathe. Okay. Back to normal. I want to see my trophy. The wax-covered strip. The one that has caused me so much pain with my hairy pelt sticking to it. I want to revel in the glory that is my triumph over body hair. I hold up the strip. There's no hair on it. What? Where is the hair? Where is the wax? Slowly I ease my head down. Foot still perched on the toilet. I see the hair. The hair that should be on the strip. I touch. I am touching wax. Crap. I run my fingers over the most sensitive part of my body, which is now covered in cold wax and matted hair. Then I make the next big mistake. Remember, my foot is still propped up on the toilet? I need to do something. So I put my foot down. I hear the slamming of a cell door. Woo-hoo! Sealed shut. What? Sealed shut. I penguin walk around the bathroom, trying to figure out what to do next. And I think to myself, please don't let me get the urge to poop. My head may pop off. What can I do to melt the wax? Hot water. Hot water melts wax. I'll run the hottest water I can stand into the bathtub, get in, immerse the wax-covered bits, and the wax should melt, and I can gently bit off, right? Wrong. I get in the tub. The water is still slightly hotter than used to torture prisoners of war or sterilize surgical equipment. sit. Now the only thing worse than having your nether regions glued together is having them glued together and glued to the bottom of the tub. In scalding hot water, which, by the way, doesn't melt cold wax. So now I'm stuck to the bottom of the tub as though I had cement epoxied myself to the porcelain. God bless the man who had convinced me a few months ago to have a phone put into the bathroom. I call my friend, thinking surely she has waxed before and has some secret of how to get me undone. It's a very good conversation starter. So my butt and hoo-ha are glued together to the bottom of the tub. There is a slight pause. She doesn't know any secret tricks for removal, but she does try to hide her laughter from me. She wants to know exactly where the wax is located. Are we talking cheeks or hoo-ha? She's laughing out loud by now. I can hear her. I give her the rundown, and she suggests I call the number on the side of the box. Yeah, right. That should be the joke of someone else's night. While we go through various solutions, I resort to scraping the wax off with a razor. Nothing feels better than to have your girly goodies covered in hot wax, glued shut, stuck to the tub in super hot water, and then dry shaving the sticky wax off. By now, the brain is not working. Dignity has taken a major hike, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to need post-traumatic stress counseling for this event. My friend is still talking with me when I finally see my saving grace, the lotion they give you to remove excess wax.
And welcome back. I am Brenda Bates, Medicine Woman.
I'm Jen Toffel, Medicine Woman.
And you're listening to Medicine Women Reveal
On the Illuminati Network.
And we were continuing this story.
With a story. The story of wax on, wax off. To recap, this woman used one of those cold waxing kits. She, using her genius, as she says, is now in the bathtub in scalding hot water with her butt and hoo-hoo glued together and glued to the porcelain bathtub. So, as she says at this point of the story, by now, my brain is not working, dignity has taken a major hike, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to need post-traumatic stress counseling for this event. My friend is still talking with me when I finally see my saving grace, the lotion they give you to remove the excess wax. What do I really have to lose at this point? I rub some on, and oh my god, the scream probably woke the kids and scared the crap out of my friend. It is so painful, but I don't care. It works! It works. I get a hearty congratulations from my friend, and she hangs up. I successfully remove the remainder of the wax and then notice, to my grief and despair, the hair is still there. I recklessly shave it off. Heck, I'm numb by now. Nothing hurts. I could have amputated my own leg at this point.
Oh my god.
The end. Wax on, wax off.
So, have you ever had any waxing experience?
No, because putting wax of any kind and ripping it off my body with hair that has been attached to it does not seem any kind of joy. The results may be fantastic. Still not going to convince me.
I never used wax, and I don't ever plan on doing so. But I did get the apple lady for Christmas one time.
Oh, good.
I'm like, oh, this will be interesting.
Rip, 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 rip.
Oh, and you sit there and you torture yourself a little bit longer, thinking, okay, all right, it's working, no, oh my God. And then after a while, it's just like aversion therapy. Enough pain, reward and punishment, you're like, screw it, no, there's not enough reward.
Because you have to grow your hair long enough for it to be ripped out.
Don't matter, it just hurts.
But that's what I'm saying, so that's I'm in between epilates
Well,
sessions.
you know, it is October, so, and almost November, so guess what? Free pants, here they come. Most chances if you're single. So it is very interesting. You know, what's funny is as my mother got older, she only grew hair on the tops of her calves. And I've noticed that my body does that to some degree too, so I don't have to shave. I remember the first time my sister shaved my legs because she was told she couldn't shave her legs. And so we were very young. She shaved my whole leg, and so it's like, really? You know. So
Thank you.
yeah, so what happens when you start the activation process, then just hair just seems to grow. So by junior high, I looked really hairy. I was not allowed to shave either. When you have gym time and you have to wear those shorts and you have to go out in front of everybody, especially the boys. Oh my God, I didn't like it. We have a couple more interesting Dr. Seuss types stories, just so that if you just tuned in. I am Thing 1.
And I am Thing 2.
And Thing 2's not inferior to Thing 1. You can call her Thing A if you'd like.
Or Chocolate Thunder.
And if you ever watch the Mike Myers show, or the movie, then you
will understand that reference.
Okay. All right. This is, okay. If Dr. Seuss studied Eckhart Tolle, oh, the places your ego will go. Again, this is by Scott Grace. And you can go to his website, look at it, look him up. He's got a lot of good stuff. Your ego will travel with you on this earth and be your companion for worser or worse. It pretends it's your friend, your bestest amigo, and it pours on the guilt. That's the mark of the ego. It's there to protect you, to help you be strong, so it has to remind you what you've done wrong. You're lazy, you're weak, and you don't have a clue. That's your ego at work trying to motivate you. The ego wants you to be all you can be, so it gives you this pep talk all day and for free. Oh, the places you'll go and the guilt trips you'll travel as the ego plays judge and bangs down the gavel. But you always can get some relief from shame by projecting it onto others you will blame. For that is the ego at its beastiest best. It nurses its grievances close to its chest. Republicans, liberals, your parents, your ex, the world is just teeming with folks to correct. If only those who conform to your ways, you could get on with life without further delays. The ego keeps finding new gripes to complain about. Turn molehills to mountains of yikes to feel pain about. Sometimes the ego stuff makes you so stuffy that you come down with a cold or an ouchie more roughy. There's no time for rest, so get out of bed. If you're just here and now, then you won't get ahead. Your to-do list must buzz like the bees when they're busy. Keep filling your days till they're the endlessness dizziness. Ugh. Oh, the places you go and the people you'll see, all through the lenses of what's in it for me. For the ego believes there's something it lacks, and until it is found, it won't let you relax. Perhaps you'll find it in the next one you date. True love at first sight with a soul kind of mate. The romance is hot until the climate turns cold, because when two halves combine, they do not make a whole. They'll find it's fine till the love gets obscured by control, because when two halves collide, they cannot make a whole. So the ego moves on, ever constantly striving, addicted to seeking and afraid of arriving. You're traveling fast at the speed of surviving, with fear in the driver's seat doing the driving. No trust is a must. You must always be worried. No peace till deceased. You must always be hurried. The joys of each moment go swishing on by as the ego keeps reaching for pies in the sky, groping and grasping with arms that are flailing, and the ego loves giving you F for your failings. Or perhaps you're on the fast track of success. You're constantly driven to be great, better, or best. You're a mover, you're a shaker, you're a big-time achiever. You're a real self-made man, a dazzling diva. You're rich, you're famous, and make quite a splash. You're on top of the world, and you're rolling in cash. You drove the right car, and you've married the right spouse. Today, lunch with Oprah. Tomorrow, the White House. But at night, insecurity pays you a call. Because you know any time that you could lose it all. Your shrink says to rest, and your spouse sure agrees. Your doctor says ulcers. Take 14 of these. You know you should slow it down sooner or later. But your foot is just glued to the accelerator. Your ego consoles. Well, at least we are successful. It's a sign of success to be constantly and stressful. You've made it to the prime time and everyone loves you, but your self-esteem based on what others think of you. And opinions can change in the blink of an eye, which is why you need meds just to sleep or get by. One day you failed to succeed enough and you're witness your ego exposed in the buff. And you realize with all its protecting clothing that the ego is simply a state of self-loathing. And beyond that you find out the biggest of deals that you dreamt up the ego, it's not even real. So for richer, for poor, in all kinds of health, you commit to the journey of loving yourself. You release the projections you placed upon others and find through forgiveness that peace is discovered. You realize that the love that you search for outside you is what you are made of and can't be denied you. So you let go of your worries, your plans, and your pills, put some logs on the fire and learn to chill. Your old superstitions have gone up in smoke. Like you can't rest in peace until you have croaked. You no longer fear death, or for that matter, life, because you know that all that matters are safe and all right. While resting in peace, you'll soon be inspired to go out in the world with some newfound desires. Desires that spring from your heart and your soul, and wherever they take you, you're going there whole. Because your ego is now in the passenger seat. It rolls down the window and takes in the treats. You're not in a hurry. You're taking it slow, because the journey's as rich as the places you will go. Where you're going, you don't need to know, for the journey is rich as the places you'll go. That's beautiful. I love it. So, we have one more, and right?
All right. This is by the same person, Scott Grace. If Dr. Seuss got God. If Dr. Seuss was on the loose and speaking at New Thought churches, I bet we'd find his talks would rhyme a lot like the following verses. Ask and it's given, it says in the Bible. But if you're like me, then you're really quite liable to ask in a way that is more like complaining, not like, let there be sun, more like, make it stop raining. And when you are focused on what you don't want, the universe has no choice but to respond by delivering more of what you're focused on. It can drive you to web surf at hopeless.com. Then along comes a minister, a book or a song that helps you to get what you've been asking all wrong. Let's say you want money, more love, a smartphone, whatever you're wanting, just get in the God zone. The God zone is where you are peaceful and calm. It's when you're tuned in, tapped in, and turned on. You get in the zone through prayer and meditation, and then open your eyes and share good vibrations. Then miracles, watch how they come. Like potato chips, you can't have just one. So let's get relief from beliefs that are making you paddle upstream till your muscles are aching, paddling madly in your quest for more ease. It's a clear classic case of mad paddler's disease. Let go of the oars, you hear somebody say. By the sweat of thy brow causes endless oy vey. God's current, it moves towards your wildest dreams, and nothing you want is awaiting you upstream. Let's say you have nest eggs you'd love to be hatched. Your job's to become a vibrational match. To know in your heart that you fully deserve it, that the whole universe is just itching to serve it. To trust what you're drawn to is drawn to you too, just as sure as God bless you comes after, achoo! Some find this all too materialistic, too Pollyanna, and not realistic. They might call you selfish as you're getting bolder, but selfish is in the eyes of the beholder. Just thank them for sharing and wish them the best. And keep on being selfish with a capital S. Not a selfish that's driven by greed or by fear, but a selfish that's elfish and perfectly clear. That is a great way to help people out of their cages, is to know that you're one with a God who's outrageous. Your natural high will be highly contagious. Serve the world by example. It's most advantageous. As you practice these teachings and make some advances, you'll stop being driven by your circumstances. The road might have bumps, but you're behind the wheel now. And you've got the power steering to steer how you feel now. No longer a happiness procrastinator. It's official. You're now a conscious co-creator. Consciously choosing more limitless thoughts, tossing out all your shoulds and your have-tos and oughts. And whether or not all your prayers bear fruit, you're so happy to pray you don't give a big hoot. It's a thrill to be tuned in, tapped in, and turned on. Enjoying it all at itsallgod.com. Hanging out in the God zone, you like it a lot there, but don't get hung up on the way you got there. Whether Ernest Holmes, Christ, or a Buddhist retreat, all paths lead up to the same mountain peak. And the top of the mountain does not really care which teacher or method helped you get there. And when you're on top, it's time to slide down to bring your good cheer to the folks on the ground. Not that you'll be on a serious mission. The world's had enough of missionary positions. Your mission's to feel great, and that is enough. 'Cause nothing's more important than feeling God's love. That's how you give the whole world a big hug. Nothing's more important than feeling God's love.
I love that. I really do. And that is our some of our jokes and some of our rhymes. We do want to remind you that the Illuminati Network's anniversary show. And
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. Okay. And it's scheduled for Sunday.
Sunday.
So if you join us on November 3rd from 8 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time, the show will be hosted by the network's own Steve McManus, the CEO of the network and the host of Forbidden America and Talk Radio, and Paul Ferris, okay, COO of the network, aka the Rhythm Priest. So we're excited. It is a 1-year anniversary, and you know, if you haven't become fans, do so already. You can find the Illuminati Network, and here we are bringing back hope, and we're taking and reclaiming the name, and we're dispelling fear. And you just go to the Illuminati Network. You go to facebook.com and Illuminati Network, and you'll find them. And if you go to facebook.com and look for, is there's MW Reveal, or is it MW? No, that's not it.
There is MW Reveal, and there is also Medicine Women Reveal. One is our fan page, one is our profile.
Yeah. And so you can become our fan or friend. And you have to understand, when you're a fan, it's not really a fan, you are a soul peer. You are this spiritual family that we start to become developed with. Especially if we've ever done a reading for you, then there is just that part of that bond that helps people to socially get along in a more like-minded, rhythmic way.
And then you may be able to help others because you've understood healing and other such things through what we have to offer, and then you can start to be a mentor to others.
Exactly. So we also blog, me or her. We blog once a week. Once a week, we try to do our best to get it up on Monday or Tuesday, and that can be found on the IlluminatiNetwork.com to the website, and we have our radio, and then we also have our blog posts.
So you can go to blogs and click on our banner, Medicine Women Reveal, Soulology and Soulcology. That's the blog, and then you can check out the current blog, old blogs. The same way that you can do under talk shows when you click on our banner, and you can go to the archives. If you scroll all the way down our page, find the chat room underneath it says click here. So that's what you do. You click there, which is here. And then you get to our archives.
Yeah. And then there's a, a scroll button so you can go and see all the shows we've done. We do 3 shows a week, so that's always fun. And it's Monday from 2 to 4, and then Tuesday and Thursday from noon to 2.
And that's all Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time, yeah. And so it is very exciting that we have all this growth process happening. And it's interesting, I did see a theme today that Spirit was showing, and again, there are path switching issues that when people don't understand the education process of what that is, it can be an issue for them, because you will feel rejected, not loved, you will feel like you don't understand, and the ego and survival will take over. Path switching is not, it doesn't make sense. Like the first time that my path switch ever happened, see, me and God are very much inseparable, just like everybody else, but I pay attention, and if people are telling me that you're doing it the wrong way, I'll say, you're not my God. Because I have come to the understanding of what it is. There's a stirring inside of me that occurs, and if you really get to know me, you'll understand that the pace I am on is a fast train, and it's not fast for me at all. It's this, this, and this, and it doesn't make any logical sense sometimes about how I get where I go. It's not meant to be. It's meant to help you break out of your zone. I am that catalog. So the first time I had the path switch was when I said, okay, God, I have no friends, I'm a young mother, and oh my God, I'm just so tired of talking to children. My husband would come home, he would work, and then he'd work on the farm, and then he'd come home late, or income in late, and then he would go, and so I never really had an adult really to chat with. So I said, okay, and I took our healing tool and threw out my golden lasso and threw it out and says, I want some like-minded friends. And so I got like-minded friends, and how? Is that, again, Spirit kept having this woman call, and I'm thinking, now when you're trying to break free from the arithmetic patterns and habits that your brain creates to keep you protected through that ego sense, this woman was calling me up, like, what the heck does she want? Spirit goes, you prayed, did you forget that? And I did. And so then I threw out the golden lasso again, I prayed again for like-minded friends, she calls again. What the heck? Honey, I don't understand why this chick keeps calling me and asking me to come to the house. I don't want to do that. And then I go to pray again, and then it's like, hey, stop praying it. I keep giving you the answer, and you keep doing and saying no. Come on, get on board. Stop being incongruent. And when it hit me that I'm saying no to God, as I'm hearing the answer, and I says, oh, it's my fear. And so I learned to overcome the fear. I didn't really have the deep healing tools that I have today. And so I went over there, and then it became that for 7 years, her and all these other people that would come to her house, and once a month we would meet up and chat, talk, heal, discuss, learn, educate, experience, develop ourselves in all of alternative spiritual healings and all about energies and just learning stuff on the planet. It was, oh my God, I was in heaven.
It was nourishing in a completely different way.
It fed me. So after 7 years, I hear Spirit says, stop going. There was no rational reason to stop going. She's my best friend. Why would I rationally...
It didn't seem logical. What's the next logical step? What are you supposed to be doing? That's not what friends do to each other.
Yeah, I had all of these things that pop in my head. The self-talk was just agonizing. And then I went back the second time. Spirit again said, stop coming. And I couldn't hear because of, oh my God, I don't want to. And a distorted sense of responsibility and rules that said it has to look like this. And I'm breaking those. And oh my God, I don't want the self-talk of what you think they're thinking of you is that, oh my God. Finally, the third time around, whatever, it was quite obvious because you can either burn bridges. I couldn't understand why she was mad at me. And I asked Spirit. Spirit says, do you want to burn bridges? Your soul has come to a point that it's next level of where it needs to go. And if you refuse on a human level, then you will have to project out a chaotic story that will force you to get on bended knee because your soul says it has to be over here at a point in time. If you're not over here and you're not cooperating, then we have to create a dramatic event. And there's all different kinds of scenarios. And so I said, oh, I don't want to lose her as a friend. So I backed away. And it was a little bit more story of how I found her on the internet. And God says, seriously? I'm like, okay, fine. I surrendered that part. I released. This is what you call releasing. Releasing the cords, releasing the people, releasing what you're used to. And you just exhale and inhale and take a new breath, and you let spirit, and you have to learn to trust that it develops. And as we're talking on the internet, she says, hey, my daughter is going down to Detroit and blah, 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 blah. Now, I had a lot of distortion of what is right and wrong, and I felt like I was copycatting. But Spirit says, just shut up and type. And I said, do you think she would mind having a guest? Oh my God, she would love to. She doesn't want to go alone. And so my fear that I was going to mimic, do something wrong, mooch,
whatever.
You know, I was paying, I'd do it, you know.
Right.
But my fear was telling me all these crazy ass stories. So the next thing I know, that was untrue. I went in the past, which would have been smoother had I listened. And so then I went to Detroit for 8 months, and then all of a sudden I hear, it's time for you to stop coming. I knew what that meant. And so this time,
you just don't want to hear it.
And so then it's like I have all these new friends, but I said no, I understand. So I went back one more time, kind of like to say goodbye, create a closure, but not really tell them because they weren't going to understand. Because I had said something to the one friend, she was making me, without realizing she was making guilt comments and manipulation comments because she didn't want to lose her friend.
Right.
And so I just kind of pretended like I was coming back, and then I never came back. But I didn't lose them as friends. You transition this state, and they still can be your friends today if you really wanted to reach out. But when you do, the rhythm changes, the vibration changes. You no longer fit, and it's not that you have to burn bridges. You're just somewhere else. And so I can go back to certain people, and we can pick up right where we left off. Or they just don't understand you. Because when I started to vibrate at a different rate, I had somebody who says, we don't understand what you're saying. And I knew I no longer fit. So I feel that's happening again, and I don't know what's going on. I just know that it's very scary to those that don't understand, and no matter how much I try to explain, it's like I always make a big surprise. I feel a shift. I don't have details. I just know that I'm going to have to move and do things according to what Spirit says. And so path switch is, everybody has them, and you can say no, and you can stay stuck, and you can wonder why chaos, why shit's happening in your world, why it repeatedly just seems to get worse.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's what was happening in Jen. It was like, no matter what, it was getting worse, getting worse, getting worse, until all of a sudden she realized she had to face the fact that she was romanticizing the relationship of her husband, and that everything was always good, trying to talk yourself into staying. And when you realize that that's not true, the hardest part is what they'll do to you. Because...
And what they'll say.
Yeah, and because you know you're not a bad person, but this is a whole different playing field. You have a third option. It's a whole different playing field. And you know you can't operate that anymore.
And when that path switch took place, it was effortless, and my moving day was all of 6 hours.
Yeah, we gotta go. Love you, see you.
Happy Halloween.